Hi and welcome to my channel Natural Resting Face. My name is Vince, and through these series of videos we'll be looking at song composition, musical development. We'll be taking an idea right through, or many ideas, right through the whole process of tracking, mixing, mastering, and possibly touching on the publishing side of things also. But without further ado, let's get to it. So I've made a list of 13 of the most important parts of the studio to focus on. I'm going to start with a desk. The desk needs to be something that's not only sturdy, but it needs to be height. If it's not height adjustable, it needs to at least be the right height. And that means if the desk isn't height adjustable, then make sure the chair is. Make sure you can get your knees underneath the desk, and what's important for me as well is because I play the guitar from the chair that I'm sitting on now, so it's nice that I can get low to the floor, so my feet are planted on the floor and the guitar rests naturally. You may not play the guitar, I don't know, so that's not really a feature you need to worry about. Yeah, make sure that the real estate space you have on the desk is big enough. I mean, and by that I mean, you might think right now you're looking at your desktop speakers, you're looking at your interface, you're looking at your widescreen monitor, because they're the things that take up the space, any hardware you might have. I would suggest you go with what you need and then try and double it, because you're always going to encounter more gear, more things to go on the desk. I was working, was it 3 or 4 summers ago on a project, and it was a hot summer. It was 37 degrees centigrade, and it was consistently like that for about 3 weeks, and it was just horrible. I got so irritable, you know. Eventually I just went out and bought a desktop fan, but the desk wasn't quite big enough to, you know, encumber the fan. The fan was only like yay big, so it wasn't massive, but I was already kind of maxing out the space that I had available, and so the fan kind of had to be kind of brought in and taken away. It's nice to have enough real estate space that you don't have to move things around. You can have everything you need, it stays exactly where it is, and you leave it alone. So that will be my number one. The seat as well, number 2. Again, make sure it's comfortable, make sure it swivels, make sure it's height adjustable, make sure it's on wheels is good as well, because sometimes you might need to whiz over to the MIDI controller or whatever it might be, or keyboard or whatever, so that's always a good option too. Okay, number 5. This is a bit of a strange one. I've not heard many people talk about it, but I like to feel quite comfortable in my working environment. My working environment is actually my bedroom, and I'm guessing for 90% of you at least, it's probably going to be a similar thing. So I like to have things on the walls that inspire me. You can see there's sound isolation behind me in the form of foam pads, which we'll talk about in a minute. But you can also see behind the microphone stand there's a picture of a canvas of a piano, and I've got other canvases around the room which kind of give colour to the room, and they make me feel like I'm in a harmonious place. Might sound slightly ridiculous, but for me it's important, and it might be for you too. Okay, it's an age-old question, this one, PC or Mac. 10 years ago I would have probably said you're definitely going to be better off with a Mac. In 2021, and probably for the last 5 or 6 years, I don't think it really matters what you use. You just use use what you've got and what you're used to. And if you want to upgrade, you know, stay on the platform that you know best. Maybe you need bigger hard drive, you need more RAM. RAM's quite important in music. I mean, I've got 32 gigs of RAM, but it wouldn't hurt to get 64. Can you do it on 16? Yeah, you can. So the PC techs, they are important, but the actual platform you're on, whether it's, you know, Mac or Windows, it really doesn't matter anymore. The software's so good across all of them that, hey, just use what you want. So now the contentious question of which sound isolation should you use. Well, as you can see behind me, there's some foam panel isolations. They're not panels, they're more pads really. They're the heavier type of pad, and they're the more expensive type. You can get different, not all foam isolation is the same. You can get some good quality stuff like this, or you could buy the cheap rubbish that you can readily find on wherever, Amazon, eBay, which is just, I'm not saying it doesn't do anything, but it just spend a little more money on you. If you're going to get foam isolation, spend a little bit more money on it. How much do you need of it? Yeah, quite a lot. That's the downside. So it does tend to kind of become quite overbearing in your living quarters. Is it the best form of isolation? No, I'd probably say if you were going to invest your money wisely, I'd probably say go for sound isolation panels. Simply because they're portable as well. You can take them wherever you go. Bass traps. This is where maybe things go off the beam a little bit. I think the people that actually give sound isolation pads, the foam variety anyway, a bad rap, are probably tracking live drums or live guitar amps. And from that perspective, I would say they're right, because these pads do tend to kill any natural room ambience, which with a live kit you do like a little bit of the room, and with a guitar amp as well. It's, you know, it's kind of part and parcel of the way it's always been recorded. So with so many foam isolation pads, you might take the life out of things too much. So I can understand why they get a bad rap from that standpoint. But really, from a home recording point where I don't track live drums, I use bias effects for the guitars, then this works for me. So before I put any up, I'd clap my hands, I'd get 120 millisecond delay coming back at me. It was like being in Sun Studios with Sam Phillips recording Scotty Moore's guitar, and you get that natural slap. You know, it's lovely, but if you don't want it, you can't get rid of it. So putting these up, I don't get that at all anymore, which is fantastic for me. But hey, that's just my take on it. The interface you need will be the one with the inputs. So you've got to know what inputs, how many inputs are you going to use. And again, I would always say get twice as many as you think you need. So for me, I started off with just a 2 in and a 2 out, I guess. So I just had the condenser mic for the vocals and a TRS for the guitar. Then I started singing more, writing more, more piano playing came in. I don't know why, I just went with 2x2 because it was cheap, I guess. And now I use a PreSonus 1810C, which is, yeah, it's a fantastic interface. Because I really looked at the number of inputs that I needed. I wanted to play acoustic guitar, I wanted to sing, I wanted to put my bass into it, I wanted to put my electric guitar into it, so that's 4 inputs already. Then I wanted to put the MIDI for it, so I wanted to put my piano in via MIDI. And I've still got, 4 inputs left. It's got 2 headphone inputs. That's another thing to look at. So there are important things to consider. So make sure you know how many inputs you need, and you go from there. But in terms of whether it's a UAD or Apollo or PreSonus, Focusrite, I just don't think it matters. So I hope that answers the questions. Well, let's talk about microphones. There are three types. There are condensers, there are dynamics, and there are ribbon. I would suggest probably just sticking with dynamic and condenser. Ribbon mics are nice, but they can go wrong, and they're expensive to fix if they do, and they're expensive to buy anyway. I've got two Rode NT1s. They're set up for my vocal and for my guitar, acoustic guitars. I've got an SM57, which you can mic up a cab with quite nicely. I've got a Sennheiser, and I've got an SM58. But to be honest with you, I only use the two NT1s, and that's all I use actually. I don't even think I use the dynamic mic. But it's nice to have an SM57. I've paid about £100, or 120, £130 here in the UK for an NT1. So I think at that price point you could probably buy, I don't know, a dozen different brands that will all be as good as each other. I don't think there's a lot of difference in the sound between each one. So yeah, I wouldn't get too hung up about the microphone itself. The only caveat I would say to microphones is make sure you invest money in decent cables. Get decent XLR leads. I mean, Hoser do some nice mid-priced ones. I used Van Dam with the Neutrik connectors, Neutrik, however you pronounce it. And for a 5 metre run or a 6 metre run, I think I pay about £40 here in the UK, get them made customly. But the Hoser ones come in at somewhere around 25, something like that. They're a little bit cheaper, but I think they're probably just as good. What I would avoid are the cheap, really cheap, $6.99 cables that you just, because it's not just the reliability you need the actual. You need the shielding is important and things of that nature. So yeah, just be aware of the cables you're going to put your money into. So let's talk monitors. How do we make this brief? Again, if you're spending somewhere in the realms of £300 to £400 on a pair of 5.5 inch, 6.5 inch monitors, I mean, whether it be KRK, I've had Tannoys, I've had Yamahas, I've now got RCF Ayra Pros, and I think I'm going to stick with those. Yeah, I mean, again, I think you're fine with any of those brands, and more brands are just not springing to mind. I know the Adam makes some great monitors. Oh, the Callies, the Callie L6s, they get good write-ups, good reviews. But they're all good. I mean, it's the most important thing about your monitor is can you listen to your monitors and know how that sound is going to translate on your hi-fi speakers, because it will be different. It will be vastly different, probably in some cases. So it's learning your monitor. It's not really, is this monitor good or not? It's, do I understand how this monitor reacts to mixing, playback, how that translates now into the car or into or again your hi-fi. So I think if you're spending anywhere between £300 and £500 on a set of near-field monitors, you're good to go. Our next stop is headphones. Do you need them? Yes, you do. If you're only going to invest your money in one pair of headphones, I would look at the closed back variety. So when you're tracking your vocal, you're not getting as much bleed from the headphones into the microphone. I do have a pair of open back headphones that I use just for practicing the piano late at night, not to upset my neighbours. Beyond that, I don't use them. I just use the closed back. I've got some Beyer Dynamic DT 770, I think a 250 ohm. Actually, they're behind me on that top of that speaker there. Yeah, I only really use them for tracking. I don't even mix with headphones. I might put them on when I think I'm happy, just to test it, just to see how it sounds. The thing is with headphones, they're always going to give you a better sound than you actually got. Well, that's what I find anyway. You take them off, you listen to the speakers and you go, oh, I prefer it through the headphones. And that's pretty much with any set of headphones, I guess. Just the physical proximity of the speaker to your ear. But so yeah, but you definitely do need them. Again, though, I wouldn't spend more than 110, 120 quid on a pair. Quid is slang in the UK for pounds. But I guess they're relatively similar to dollars. Yeah, so I wouldn't invest too much money. Anything from maybe £50 to $120 is more than enough. So. Okay, so the next question is, do I use VSTs or do I use instruments? I think if you play an instrument, even if you don't play it amazingly well, I would still say you should play the instrument, because there's something personal about playing an instrument, even if you're not maybe playing it as well as, I don't know, the top musicians on the planet. But you're still going to get a bit of you in there. You're still going to get that kind of organic, raw, human touch through it. So I tend to play most things myself. So I play guitar, I play piano, I play bass, and I sing. So it's not everything, but it's even if I played the drums, I wouldn't be able to do it in here because of my neighbours. I'm guessing most of you are in a similar situation. So I do use Easy Drummer. It's not even Superior Drummer, it's Easy Drummer, and I'm having a great time with it. I really enjoy it. And yes, you can argue they're a little bit robotic, but I find that if you buy the add-on packs, and that's where your money's going to go, if you buy the add-on packs, the drum packs, you do get some nice different kits and different things. I'm not too keen on the sound of just the modern standard kits that they've got in the package, that come with the package. I just think they sound fine, but everything sounds the same. But if you invest in the packs, which there are a lot of, you can get some nice drum sounds. So again, they get a bad rap, but there's probably many songs that have been produced on Easy Drummer, and you'd never even know. So, and at the end of the day, they are played. All those patches are played by real drummers, real session drummers. So you could argue, well, how much of a VST is it if it's actually being played by real drummers? There's an argument for it. Yeah, what other? I mean, VSTs that I use them for strings, for brass, and that's it. I think I don't use VSTs for anything else. So yeah, go with what suits you. You know, if you need a VST, invest some money in it. And there's so many good ones out there. Contact have got a whole array of good stuff. Keyscape, brilliant. Well, you can see Keyscapes on the screen there, but so there are some good ones. I mean, and people do say, you know, well, they're quite expensive, aren't they? Coming in at £300-400. And I think, well, how much would it cost you to pay a drummer to come down to your studio, set it up, learn your songs, practice what you want him to play or her to play? How many songs are you going to be doing in this project? You've got an album, okay, so we're looking at 12 songs probably. I think it's going to cost you a lot more than £300 or £400 to get that drummer to produce all that work. So Is it expensive? Not really when you weigh it up. We've arrived at our final stop, power conditioners. Snake oil or not. I'll try and put it as simply as I can. In here I've probably got something coming in at the range of about £10,000 worth of equipment. Now, for the sake of another £110 or dollars, I could buy a Furman, and I could kind of rest assured that my Furman's going to keep my gear nice and happy. Do I negate spending £110 on a Furman, which is what I've got, and run the risk that one day I could be mixing? There's a terrible thunderstorm outside. The changes in weather do create changes in atmospheric pressure. It does affect the electricity in and around the house and the area. I just think it's a no-brainer for me. I mean, if all you've got is a laptop and an interface, and you've got very little software, you've got very few instruments, you've got you've got basic stuff, then yeah, fine, risk it. Hopefully the fuse will trip in the house before anything bad happens. But yeah, I would invest money in a power conditioner. Even if it is snake oil, I'm still happier to do it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have enjoyed it, be sure to like it and subscribe. As I say, there'll be more videos on a weekly basis about song composition and all the finer elements that go into building songs, from the initial idea right through the whole process. I'll probably do a few tutorials. There are better people, more qualified people out there to do those sort of things, but I might delve a little bit into it. So thanks for watching, and take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.